St. Martin's Dyke after his effort, heads back. Vito Bratt as well. So now, a quick reminder of the vital statistics of the Nocturberg. It's just, 1,200 metres long, 1,200 metres, and 7.5% on average. But that little 12% section comes relatively close to the front, to the end. So certainly is a challenging climb. Are we going to see riders try and clip across here? Join up with the... I suspect that we're starting to see Fabio van den Bosque is...
Take advantage of decades-high US and UK interest rates with a Marriott solution that offers capital stability and attractive hard currency return.
Great effort. I think that's Lawrence Pithy on the tail of Mads Pedersen, just trying to stay in touch. What's the gap going to be up over the top of this climb as Kees Benoot leads them, and it's maybe 10 seconds, a little bit more. Riders crawling all over the bike to try and stay in touch. Huge effort there to catch Decathlon AG Tour. Le Monian have some decent riders in their number. Dries de Bont was 5th last year. And riders at the back going nowhere, and that's significant. Doesn't look like a sprinter's day today, does it? Jasper Philipsen running out of breakfast. Well, they've done some damage because they have, very good indeed, is Biniam Gourmet. Still very much involved towards the front as the chasers try to get themselves into some state of repair, I suppose you might say, and Mads Pedersen not hanging around for a second invitation to the front. Kees Bol, big Dutch sprinter, is the Staneman in the middle there. Alex Sigartu, we've seen sort of flirting off the back and on the back, and well, he's in a bit of trouble for the Lotto squad as well. He's not the only one. Some big names going missing today. Bob Youngles on the wrong end of the peloton at the moment. So Matej Mohoric we spotted as well. they'll keep ploughing on. Every chance they can be a bit of a repair made. So the new redesigned and slimmed down peloton in pursuit of your breakaway group, which now numbers just 4 riders, 3 of them from Visma Lease Bike squad, and Nielsen Paulus, the interloper from the EF Education Easy Post team. And look at the way they're switching across the road left and right as Mads Pedersen puts the pressure on the pedals. Looks, according to the flags, as if we've got a bit of a headwind section here, so slightly more difficult to detach yourself from the others. Make a left turn, that could change. Stuyven recognising both the danger and the opportunity. He wants to keep the hammer down and the pressure on, and to ensure that these riders don't get out of sight anytime soon. Onto the hot end. The hot on 1,200 metres, you see, as you saw there, 5% maximum. Not the most demanding climb they'll face today, but nonetheless, legs will be starting to get a little bit soft now. It's a shorter run, certainly, than many races that they'll do, but that doesn't mean it's by any means easy, especially at the pace that we've seen them race today. Stabant looking a little bit frustrated once more. Peloton repaired and then comes back together again. .52k to go of a 184-kilometre bike race, including 10 climbs. 10 tough climbs, and Dries de Bont has decided now is not a bad time to make his presence felt. The former Belgian national road race champion in the company of former Dutch national road race champion Dylan van Baarle. Tudor Pro Cycling F Education Easy Post squads also interested, as coming from behind the Lidl Trek squad. Involved in so much of the action, but that ultimately was quite a productive climb for the Visma Lease Bike led breakaway group. Well, they're scrapping over tenths of a second here. And the yellow team have gained several seconds, only in the order of about 10 seconds. What a show of strength. What a great job done by Nielsen Paulus, although I might be starting to get a little bit concerned about his tactical situation. Probably a little bit early to be thinking about that, but I suppose you've got to be thinking about it while you're trying to also put it to the back of your mind. Significant. Just hearing that Tim Wellens has been forced to abandon the UAE Team Emirates squad, so losing a significant rider has been notable, really. Apart from Bjerg in the break, I haven't seen too much of the UAE squad on the front of the peloton. Certainly not in the last 20 kilometres or more. Tim Wellens, who was 8th in E3 last Friday. And a little bit of urgent assistance required for Stefan Kung. So after saying we haven't seen much of the UAE squad and hearing that Tim Wellens was forced to stop, we do see that they have got representation on the front of the peloton, but the peloton now has a little bit of an issue. For all that there's 50k to go, this is a significant moment because we've got three of the biggest names in the bike race up front. Yeah, make that four. Neilson Paulus, who's I've mentioned, it's a race that he knows, a race that he likes. Third 2 years ago. And up front with the reigning champion of the race, with Wout van Aert, who's one of the biggest names in world cycling, and with Tej Benoot, who's been 6 times top 10 in this race before. It is a really, really powerhouse-packed breakaway group, currently working well together, and behind, well, they're anything but working well together. There's all sorts of little random ones and twos and solo raids, and that breakaway, or that main peloton is... It's a decent size, but it's really not terribly well coordinated, and you feel there isn't... teams haven't really managed to figure out what's going on and come up with a coordinated response. And part of the problem is, well, do they have the strength, the sheer quality, the sheer athletic ability to face up to a challenge such as this, with Wout van Aert searching for the A game ahead of Ronde van Vlaanderen next Sunday. Neilson Paulus, another man with huge ambition for the weekend, but also I suspect he'd be absolutely thrilled to come up with the win today for the EF Education Easy Post squad. Donostia San Sebastian Classic back in 2021. Gran Piemonte as well in Spain and Italy respectively. He's taken overall success in the likes of Étoile de Bessèges in France, but really enormous win in Belgium, and a win of this calibre and World Tour quality yet to be achieved by Neilson Paulus. Well, I suppose San Sebastian sort of sits at the same level. I think he'd see it as possibly the greatest success in his career, were he to take the win. And as I say, we've got 48k to go. A. B. He's up against 3 riders from the Visit Lisa Bike squad. He's by no means the favourite right now. Well, we got the eye in the sky back, as you can see, and it's giving us a beautiful visual situation because the road is big and wide and the wind is blowing, and the echelons have split this race to bits. Hard to see one group being described as the echelon right now. Mads Pedersen leading a small group clear. Meanwhile, his teammate Jasper Stuyven, 5th in E3 last Friday, in that group behind, recognising the value of riding through to try and join up with his teammate. And the peloton behind, one long crocodile. Not too far from the Maria Borastraat again, that long section of flat cobbles that offers another opportunity for the really strong men to assert their authority and to make a change here. And right now it's going to take something special to get on terms with this breakaway group up front. What a show of power and strength. Will they make it to the finish to contest? Right now, you wouldn't be betting against them. Certainly won't be lacking for motivation. And cooperation's not going to be an issue.
Take advantage of decades-high US and UK interest rates with a Marriott solution that offers greater capital stability and attractive hard currency returns.
Next Level Rugby, the Investec Champions Cup on Supersport.
Your phone. Hello?
Hi, I think you have my phone.
The all-new Land Cruiser Prado, truly masterful.
This is the Estapod, where dreams are made and deadlines are crushed. We don't just design workspaces, we engineer happiness.
Nielsen Powell continuing to tap through, of course. To be permitted to stay there. Unless he makes an effort, he knows that if he doesn't, the attacks will follow. Just an attempt to show how much strength and ability he's got. And Bini and Gourmet has a little look across. Sagart's in good form. Stefan Kung on his spare bike has managed to make his way up to this group and make his way to the front of it. And here we go. This is Pedersen launching clear. But could it be anyone else? He's in absolutely stonking form. Loving his racing at the moment. As I say, there was a certain amount of criticism about the way that he went about his victory. His victory was glorious, wasn't it, last Sunday? And it was an amazing achievement. And now sort of a record-equaling third victory in Ghent-Wevelgem for Mads Pedersen, the former world champion. An absolutely exceptional effort. And I think he was had much to take from. But some were saying that he won't always be able to do that. And up against the likes of Tadej Pogacar, Mathieu van der Poel on Sunday, that kind of approach might be a folly. He might change his tactics on Sunday. Right now, somebody needs to show some strength. It's hard to see past an extraordinary third successive victory for the Visma Lease bike squad, unless something happens pretty quickly. Well, they're kind of holding that gap at the moment, aren't they? Sort of yo-yoing around the half-a-minute mark. Yeah, Christophe Laporte won this race for the Visma Lease bike squad 2 years ago. Then glory from Matteo Jorgensen, who's in the break today. 3 out of the 4 up front. Seemingly nothing that can be done. Where's the next salvo coming from? The next injection of pace. Bahrain victorious. Want to put the hand up and say they've been involved today. What does Paulus do? He is in a tactically challenging situation. I suppose a 4th place finish would be marvellous, but right now he's put himself into the position of maximum opportunity, albeit up against 3 riders and of the calibre of the likes of former Belgium national road race champion, among many other great successes in his career, Wout van Aert. And while Thijs Benoot will have his fans, you feel that the majority of Flandrians right now are watching with fascination and eager anticipation of the Wout van Aert really finding his A game. Now, it's counter time. Has Valscheid made it up there? Kelland O'Brien, is it? Arjen Levens, I think it was the rider for the Lotto squad who we saw in such fine form. Onto the Eichenberg again. At its most demanding at the start. And the cobbles make it so much more challenging. They smooth them out, don't they? The way they ride them and the way the television images come to us, it looks all so impressive, really. And also smooth and easy. It's anything but. Those are bone jarring. Oh, riders down in the chase group, jockeying for position, and that's a painful one. And rider from Lawrence Pithy, it is, yeah. And Nils Pollitt, the German champion, is the former German champion. A very, very painful moment for those 2 riders. And Lawrence Pithy was looking good, I have to say. Frustration for and agony, really, in equal measure. Let's get a look at this again. You could see this one happening for about, 5 minutes before it happened. That's how it felt. I'm sure it almost might have felt like that as well for those 2 riders. 1 or 2 riders delayed by it. Just 2 going down. That was a painful one as well, as the Absinta Koenig rider went through and past Pithy. Just caught his legs with his back wheel. Now we hope they can get back up and get involved, but it's not exactly coming at a good time, is it? Because the peloton now finding themselves with 40 seconds to get on terms with the breakaway group up front. Down to the final 40 kilometres of this 184 kilometres, 79th edition of Dwars door Vlaanderen. And once more with feeling, up and onto the Eichenberg. Let's see if there's going to be any change or any fluctuation in the advantage of the breakaway group, because it's an opportunity to show what strength you've got. This is Fabio Van den Bosque, who we saw up front, but was distanced finally. And a little bit of a separation made, or has it been made on this group? Not really. Madua, for the first time, starting to make his presence felt for the Groupama FDJ squad. Stefan Kung, muchly frustrated when this group headed clear. He arrived at the front of the chase group, or at the front of the peloton, as it fractured, and as he saw them disappearing off the front. Well, Jesper Philipsen did manage to get back on, actually, after that last difficulty, but he's been distanced once more, albeit there's 40k to go. They're ticking off these climbs. After this one they'll have 2 more climbs, so again, if he's able to make his way back in and they can do something about closing that gap to the riders up front, who knows, he'll keep fighting all the way to the line. Doesn't look quite as at his ease on the bergs today as he did on Sunday. Stuyven hits the front. Wants to keep it.
Take advantage of decades high.
This is the Estapod, where dreams are made and deadlines are crushed. We don't just design workspaces, we engineer happiness.
Hi,
Yes, you. Let me make you fall in love with furniture differently. This desk is like your personal dance partner. Sit, stand, cha-cha-cha. It'll keep you moving. Monitor arms. Those are like yoga masters, stretching and flexing on you. Our lamp, a beacon of illumination in the darkest of deadlines. With Cecil Nurse, oh, you will work better.
Try and recover. Stiven rides through. No great investment here from the EF Education Easy Post squad. Maureen van den Berg was just gesticulating as if to say, well, do you want to come through? Well, it's a slightly unusual scenario, really. Do they chase it? Paulus up front. Because Paulus knows, I mean, if he says, you know, look, they're chasing behind, they've decided this is not the best opportunity, and I'm going to have to sit on here, well, they just start attacking him. Having said that, from the Visma Lisa Bike squad's point of view, it just is better for them the longer that they keep three riders, make that four, working well together as a sort of a team time trial off the front. If they do have to feel they have to start attacking Niels Pollitt, or Nielsen Paulus, that might be just a little bit earlier than they'd want. And they may just elect not to and just take them deeper into the final before they start to roll them one after the other after the other. That would probably be the real scenario, wouldn't it? Just that's a beautiful town in Belfry at Oudenarde. Big crowd there on Sunday, I can tell you. Down the final 36 kilometres, it's flying by, isn't it? So much going on. No update on Pithy or Niels Pollitt. Get back up and on. Onyx Sigart still in there. Bini and Gourmet most certainly is. Bjerg will be thrilled he's still on and still in. And yeah, you see that flyover in the distance we did a second ago. That's where the Tour of Flanders will be finishing on Sunday afternoon. And the Lion of Flanders, proudly perched at the top of the highest vantage point. Well, this gap isn't coming down. It's not going up any an appreciable difference or distance right now, but just where is the cooperation? Israel Premier Tech squad want to at least show that they're in the race. Oh, problems. And I think this, yeah, Lawrence Rex, the Intermarché Wanty, rather less concerned about the bike that he's just, oh, there's the museum. Gotta go there. Ronde van Vlaanderen. Centrum. Opened back in 2003. Extensive archive of images and sound material. Loads of old bikes as well. And a shop and quite a nice cafe. When that old Volvo was last fired up. Through Oudenarde, we're not thinking about Ronde right now. We're thinking about Dwars door Vlaanderen, and we're thinking about where the response is coming from in the peloton behind. Frustration really for Mads Pedersen and friends. Nothing coordinated about the assault. Every time they get something going, they shave 3 or 4 seconds off the advantage quite quickly. But then how quickly does it fall apart again? And as you can see, everyone's feeling the pinch from what's been a fairly intense race today. Took absolutely ages for any sort of breakaway to establish a decent advantage. They raced and raced and raced their way all the way to the first of the 10 bergs to be dealt with across the day. And we're down to just 2 of them remaining. A little bit of a wait for the next hill. We do have some cobbled excitement coming at Dome. About 31k of the day, so about 3 or 4k to go to the cobbles. And for a moment there, I thought Mads Pedersen might have been minded just keep going with that one and go, well, I might as well try and get across myself. But whether he would be able to do it or not. Huge intensity about this one. There's a couple of EF Education easy posts along, at least one for the ride here. If they did manage to keep a split, that might be one to ride for. You sort of think tactically it might be to the advantage of the EF Education easy post squad if they were to actually get across and get into a counter-attacking move with 2 riders. Well, that actually might be a nice situation to invest in. Albeit it's also finely poised because it is just 33 seconds, and Jorgensen and friends, well, they've got some cobbles to look forward to now. They'll be getting the word pretty quickly. That is not yet a winning advantage. They need to be mindful. They've connected up behind once more, so that little sketchy little right-hander. Teish Benut down towards the back, 31-year-old from Ghent. And Strade Bianche back in 2018. Corn Brussels Corn. Couple of years ago. And EF have decided, no, we have our man up the road. We've got a big result. Win, lose or draw. I suppose a 4th place might look like a draw actually for the EF Education easy post squad. And it might even be better than that. And nobody wants to come around them. There's the room if they want. EF Education easy post squad, soft pedaling on the front, and that is just the way it suits them. The Visma Lease bike squad were representing at the front of that group, but not contributing to the pacemaking. Two-time champion Yves Lampart has managed to make it back into the lead group, or very close to it at any rate. Former Belgian champ fighting hard for the Soudal Quick-Step squad. A bit underrepresented actually for the Wolfpack, not really having Classics campaign to suit their particular standard. There he is, and is he the only Soudal Quick-Step rider in that group? That's just hard to imagine, isn't it? Group of 4 up the road and a group of maybe 20 behind. And just one Soudal Quick-Step rider. Well, things have changed. Well, Paulus goes for the gutter on the right-hand side. Van Aert has a look on the left, as indeed does Benot on the crown of the road. Jorgensen for now at any rate, but then they realise there's a little bit something a little bit more pleasant. take the relief where they can get it. Jorgensen just laying off here by a couple of bike lengths or so. And St. Paulus taking the road less travelled. Down to 30 to go. Nobody can quite make up their mind about what the best course of action is there. .30 to go. We're going to see a little bit of a change in the character of the front of this group as the EF Education Easybow squad currently own the front, but for how much longer? Pedersen down the back here must be feeling a little bit frustrated about things. All his efforts so far. Magnus Sheffield as well has been quite prominent on the front for the Ineos Grenadiers squad without really being able to have a huge impact on the advantage of this group. Sorry, the lead group. Well, the relief from the smooth tarmac for the leaders up front who have seen their advantage extended. Two nations represented up front, two teams as well. Slight imbalance for the teams, but two riders from the United States of America, two Belgians. No favours given, nor indeed expected from the two American riders though. Jorgensen trying to keep that Dossard number one for a second successive victory. What a remarkable achievement that will be. Rasmus Tiller powering along in the front of what's left of the peloton. Stefan Kung as well. Just about to make his way to the front without quite doing so. And the chase group leave the cobbles behind them for now at any rate. Got another section coming up very shortly in actual fact. And not that short a sector either. Yeah, 1600 metre sector of cobbles. The Huis-Ponteweg. Madua finding himself off the back there. About 25 riders composing the second group on the road who are not able to do anything about the advantage of those riders up front. Their advantage continuing to extend, and behind, well, even some of the bigger names. Valentin Madua, who we've seen on the attack in this race so far, finding himself distanced. And now chasers behind. Who's the strongest of the Lotto riders? We have seen Alex Sigart, but either on the front or on the back. The only two positions really for the Belgian rider. And he's decided that it's time to take his leave of the rest of them. And Stefan Kung has spotted an opportunity here. And massive, massive effort being made by Stefan Kung. Groupama rider who was third in this race last year. He was sixth in E3 last Friday. St. Paulus looks great today, doesn't he? Across the Huis-Ponteweg, a next section of pave here for the riders to deal with. We've got the Nokerenberg coming up immediately after it. And then more pave, not much wanted. He's got clear, but unfortunately for him, he's got Dylan van Baarle for company, who's not going to assist. Has absolutely no interest in contributing to this one. And every time Kuhn goes to the front with a really big investment of effort, you can see the power that he's got and just how much pain and suffering it causes. The other riders, but in some ways, you know, is there cooperation that they'd like? Well, this post mill has had an eventful history. Been a windmill on that spot since the 16th century. And that mill blew over in 1959. They moved another one from a different location in 1981. .25k to go, and the advantage is still nudging upwards. Every one of these little injections of pace from the likes of Stefan Kung and others shaves a second or two off the advantage up front, but then it all stalls behind, and that's it. The seeming impossibility of getting any proper cooperation is only to the advantage of the riders up front, and Mads Pedersen looking a little more weary. And Bini and Gourmet is the wrong end of the split here at the moment. Van Dijk doing a good job to make it into that one again. Yves Lampaert, two-time champion, having to solve a problem. These riders looking ever more weary. Marijn van den Berg among them, albeit he'll be satisfied to have his teammate up front in the breakaway. Mounting frustration for Stefan Kung, as every time he does a long turn, he has a little look around and nobody wants to ride through or cooperate. Instead, you get the odd attack. Is this Ballerini? And here we go. It's all starting to happen. We're down to the final 25 kilometres, and Nielsen Paulus finds himself having to fix a problem. You can be absolutely certain that Thijs Benoot is not going to help him to move his way back up to Wout van Aert and Matteo Jorgensen. Well, I wonder if he decided it was time to sit on, and Thijs Benoot just takes him out the back. Oops. And Nielsen Paulus a bit slow to react to that one. So Paulus fixes that one. Bird to match. How many has he got? Hasn't had any effect on the advantage of the riders up front, because still Wout van Aert and Matteo Jorgensen continue to ride. Benoot now hits the front. As we arrive into the village of Nokere and onto the Nokereberg. Those bone-jarring cobbles to be dealt with once more. Relatively short climb, this. Through this village twice, through it again for a final hill. With just under 10 kilometres remaining. But with 22 kilometres remaining, our riders up front. Once again, a quartet. Now, Sigart again, perhaps. Next salvo fired by the Lotto team. And powering clear, and this is a moment to try and make the difference as Mads Pedersen has Stefan Kung jaw set and really fighting hard to stay in the wheel of the former world champion. And Mads Pedersen in this form is going to be tough to stay with. But is the hill going to be long enough for him? Out of the saddle when they hit the tarmac. Well, the descent comes too soon, you feel, for Mads Pedersen, who didn't really open up as much of an advantage as he would have hoped to. And Kung was left fighting for breath there, but you need to stay on terms and stay on track and stay focused, because little winds and twists, and we've got another little rise here, which will potentially offer an opportunity. Rasmus Tiller, I think, just really fighting for breath to stay with him as well. Pedersen back down to the back to see what he can do about coming up with another response. The latest attack coming from the Decathlon AG Tour squad. It ball again. Down to the final 20 kilometres of Dwars Store Vlaanderen. Here's St. Paulus, and no doubt we'll be getting plenty of advice and encouragement. Got a little bit of cobbles to deal with here. Our penultimate stretch. Herlegem Strat, all 800 metres of it. Is it long enough to make a difference here? Well, 700 metres, there was a little sort of strip of tarmac in between. Teichmann with that characteristic old-style Flandrian appearance about him on a bike. He's kind of old school, isn't he? And really tough rider who's been so consistently in the top 10. I wonder what opportunity he'll have to go for victory today, or how they're going to try and organise this one. The fly in the ointment, of course, is Niels St. Paulus, and as yet, with still 19 kilometres remaining, there can be no assumptions made. A little bit of a conversation. What's that chat about? I'd be thrilled with fourth. There is Niels St. Paulus asking for a little bit more of an effort. I mean, I'm not sure what he can expect really from the Visma Lease bike squad at this point. Meanwhile, a little bit of a detachment made, and it's Alex Sigart that has managed to infiltrate, or to create a little bit of a split. Tibor Del Grosso as well. Good job to be in there. So the fractured peloton. wearyingly making its way back onto that main road that will take them down towards Waregem and to head out for the final local lap here. Stefan Kung finds himself with Dries de Bont, keen to make another injection of effort. I thought for a moment there was something of an attack, but I think there was as much as anything just a big turn of the front to try and see can they possibly salvage the glory here today. They have got decent cooperation. Two riders from the Lotto squad. Liven's in here as well as Alex Sigart. Behind plenty of teams and representation less interested. Case Ball is riding. Rasmus Tiller as well also finds himself frustratedly now in Group 3 on the road. The advantage is what, approaching 20 seconds, and they're in bits all over there. I mean, it's been a hell of a scrap, hasn't it? This has been a really good, tough Flandrian day, and for all that the weather is practically balmy spring sunshine, up to 16 degrees Celsius. East winds have blown across West Flanders today, and well, that has, in its own way, as well as the racing and the sheer intensity of the racing, given us some superb entertainment. And any question that this was going to come down to a relatively large group sprint has been poo-pooed and just, really moved far from our thoughts by the efforts of the riders. It's been a really terrific race. Group 3 on the road, as you can see. Struggling for confidence, struggling for strength and cooperation. And Joseph Blackmore making his way to the front for the Israel Premier Tech squad. Great effort from him to be in that group. Good signs for him for the future. Jorgensen indeed on the front through the feed zone. Into Waregem, and the crowd out in force. And down past the Hippodrome. It's a famous centre of horse racing hereabouts. Oh, there you go. They'll be happy they're not putting any steeplechase fences into today's action. Gavelbeck Hippodrome. They've been racing horses around here since 1847. Although they used to do it around the streets in those days. They decided a little bit after that to come up with a very nice, impressive hippodrome. Of course, there's a very popular cyclocross destination, Waregem, and the 2014 World Cyclocross Championships held here. Waregem, it's the galloping city. Won't be a big bunch gallop today, though, will it? Will we have a sprint of 4, sprint of 3, 2, or will it be a solo rider through to the line? So last time we heard it was about 48 seconds. Quick reset. It's come down ever so slightly. The chasers behind getting themselves organised to reset the ticker at, what, 38, 40 seconds? 14 kilometres remaining. They still remain 1,000% committed to this one. And how do they deal with the headache of Nielsen Paulus? We think back to that famous edition of, was it Ken Felberghem with Ian Stannard, the It was Omloop, wasn't it? Yeah, Omloop, yeah. At Newsblout when Ian Stannard's managed to outfox the massed ranks of the Quick-Step squad. All four of them. Tom Bonin, Steen Vandenberg, who else was in it? It was he managed to, while they were trying to attack him, he suddenly managed to time his run to perfection and get ahead while they were split up slightly, and suddenly surprisingly and famously got the win. So it can be done. It's a relatively rare enough event. It's so seldom that it's wonderful, and those are the memorable ones. But it's a similar tactical consideration here for Nielsen Paulus. And you do a Stannard. See the way the wind really is playing a role today. Back out and into the countryside. And the motorway flyovers are going to feel like bergs now. Long tough day in the saddle for the riders. And Jorgensen's form looks good. Is it going to be back-to-back victories? Can Nielsen Paulus, third 2 years ago, continue his form? Wout van Aert hasn't much enjoyed this race. 83rd and a spectacular non-finish last year, which of course he came down in a crash, broke his collarbone, 7 ribs, a sternum, scapula. Took him a long time to recover from that one. And he's recovered and he's come back, and he's playing a big role today in the destination of honours in Dwars-Door-Vlaanderen. Gap's holding steady. These riders super committed. They got the strength and the full cooperation to continue to close this one down. No real time for too much shenanigans up front. Of course, in Wout van Aert, they have certainly the best, the strongest sprinter in the group, the biggest name sprinter by some considerable margin. So you might think that they might actually they think about taking Nielsen Paulus all the way to the line. Not necessarily the safest option, but you have a rider of that calibre in your group, and you can organise a lead out. It would be difficult and challenging for Nielsen Paulus. Speaking of which, he's a couple of teammates behind. Marijn van den Berg and Honoré, the Dane, in there as well. They're Group 3 on the road now. "20 seconds between Groups 2 and 3 on the road." Big effort here from Tish Benoot. His body language tells you how difficult it is. The others, well, the body language doesn't tell it, but that doesn't mean they aren't suffering. Just 11k remaining, and we're approaching the village of Nokere once more. Slightly longer version this time of the hill that took them in last time round. They're coming in from a different direction, of course. Will that be where the likes of Jorgensen or Benoot or Wout van Aert decide to take their leave? Will Nielsen Paulus be able to respond? Well, the gap holding steady between Groups 1 and 2. Gaps between 2 and 3. Well, there's every chance still, you feel, that the 13 chasing riders in Group 3 might be able to just about get back on. Although it is extending, isn't it? So it's going in the wrong direction for them as well. So it's holding steady 1 to 2 and, if anything, going further out to Group 3. So these groups firmly solidifying on the road. Now back towards Nokere. This one's quite as well, it's not cobbled, but it is a little bit longer. The demanding Hating slabbed roads of Flanders, proving no difficulty apparently to these riders. Benoot riding altogether bigger gear than Wout van Aert and Jorgensen, and indeed Paulus. Different approach. Anxious look over the shoulder there from Thijs Benoot. Another one coming from Nielsen Paulus. Can't afford to look around for too long. Paulus, the 28-year-old. And of course, Jorgensen wearing dossard number 1. What a season he's having already. Back-to-back victories in Paris-Nice, achieved just a few short weeks ago. 9th in E3, 30th in Gent-Wevelgem. And lots of fans out to cheer on their heroes, Thijs Benoot, and to a greater extent, this man, Wout van Aert, are going to be getting the excited entreaties of the observers at the side of the road. They'll be willing them on to success. Jorgensen would be a popular winner. Paulus would be popular in the US as well. And now a little bit of riding from Group 3, and the EF riders want to at very least be involved with Group 2 on the road. It's a balancing act, but there's a little bit of distance now, isn't there? Almost 40 seconds, so they can start to contribute, make sure no one comes up from behind as well. Noker is dealt with as they make the left turn at the top of the smoother climb in Group 2 on the road. And the leaders up front on the next little bit of the roller coaster, this narrow strip of road that will take them back towards that main road. Just one cobble section to come. Herlegem-Straat, with just over 7 kilometres from the line, so not too far to go before they reach that point. Oops, a little bit of a sketchy moment for Tiller, but he solves that issue and continues to press on. So it's increasingly looking as if we're not going to see any attacking in this group at all. Well, was that little... in the position from behind. You feel that the Visma Lease bike squad might be sort of... He's a rider who, as I say, has some decent results in his career. 6 times in the top 10 in this event without ever getting the victory. Jorgensen winning it last year, of course. Nielsen Paulus would do well to surprise them here. Paulus, you feel, just has to bet on his sprint, such as it is, to see if he can come up with a remarkable success, unless they start attacking him, and then the mix could change a little bit. On to the Herlegem-Straat for the final time of asking. Maybe he was tightening it up his straps because he was going to take on the pacemaking across this 800 metres of, or 700 metres or so of cruel cobbles. And they hit it at such a rate, and they're halfway across it before they notice it's bumpy, I think. Nearing this, where 2 riders have come to grief behind. Let's get a look at this chase group, and understood, yeah, Jasper Stuyven we're hearing. That looked a bit ouchy. Bini and Gourmet managing to avoid, although finding himself a little bit delayed. Group 3 on the road. Affected by that, we hope Stuyven's able to get back up and get back into the fray. He's not going to play any further role in the destination of honours in this event, you feel. The advantage continuing to rise for this group as Nielsen Paulus hits the front, continues to set the tempo, and I wonder if he is resigned to a situation where he's just going to have to see what he can do with his sprint across this flyover and heading into the final 5 kilometres. It's been a really impressive job done indeed by the American rider. To feel a podium finish, probably the summit of his ambitions at this point. The dust continues to be kicked up by those lead motorbikes, those motorbikes heading through to the finish line. Telling you just how much wind is blowing across this particular open and exposed section. Mads Pedersen look good, but that moment of acceleration from the Visma Lisa bike hordes, 4 riders, just pretty much destroying the peloton. It's such an impressive injection of pace, and nobody could follow it. It's going to have set alarm bells clanging, you feel, but for some of the other squads, important morale boost for the yellow-clad team. And down to the final 5 kilometres as we head towards Wout again. We have a slight tour around the town to complete the affair. And Paulus is riding through with intent now, as if he's worked out exactly what the most he can expect out of this one. Little left turn here. We'll take them into a long straight burn. Got a left turn with 2 kilometres remaining, which is the first of relatively smooth and not particularly technical or overly technical bends that they have inside the final 2K. Got a couple of right-handers, and then a couple of right-handers to finish the affair. We have, within the final 350 metres of the race, in actual fact, we've got a right-hander followed by another right-hander that takes him into the final 250. So it is a bend with 250 metres to go. A small group like this won't prove too much of a challenging situation for the riders, and then the final run to the line is sort of head crosswind, blowing across the riders from their right hand side into that final finishing straight. And who's going to take it up? The Visma Lisa bike squad have their 3. Wout van Aert third in line here. Is this how they're setting up? Wout van Aert to convert for them is surely the best option. In a big bunch sprint, he's, if not an A-list sprinter, he's certainly among the very best. In a group of 4, it would be hard to bet against him. Nielsen Paulus, more of a climber. His big victories. Well, he did win a 4-up sprint to take the victory in San Sebastian a few years ago against Matej Mohoric, Mikel Honore, and Lorenzo Rota. Not exactly A-listers, but not too shabby all the same. So he can produce a decent sprint, and they'll be mindful of that. Jorgensen, when he took his win 12 months ago, soloed home by almost half a minute, clear of a group that included Jonas Abrahamsson, Stefan Kung, Dries de Bont, and of course the man who's on the front at the moment, Thijs Benoot. He set him up nicely. And the Visma Lease bike squad looking for an emphatic and a very impressive 3 in a row for the team. Backing up the victory of Christophe Laporte in 2023 and Jorgensen 12 months ago. Under the kite. Thijs Benoot takes it up. And now Jorgensen through to take up the pacemaking. Nielsen Paulus knows that he's got to get around Wout van Aert, Dossard number 2. Third in line here is the man they're backing for Visma Lease bike. Well, this race has not been kind to him so far. As I said, 83rd. And that horrible crash 12 months ago. What a redemption it would be for Wout van Aert, were he to take the success in the event that so cruelly damaged his 2024 season. Such a painful exit last year. Such a joyous return as we're into the final straight, and they look to set it up. And will Paulus be able to come around any of them? So they run to the line. It's Thijs Benoot that's going to be the final lead out for Wout van Aert as he sets sail for home. And Nielsen Paulus tries to challenge, and Nielsen Paulus is right there. And Wout van Aert's having to come up with a big one. And Nielsen Paulus could. Would you believe it? Paulus has stolen that one, and that is immense. And that is extraordinary. And would you believe it? 1 against 4, and he did it. Well, they can hardly believe it. Nielsen Paulus came up with the most unexpected success, and he can hardly believe it himself. Joy unbound for EF Education Easy Post as he comes up and over. Wout van Aert in the run to the line. Nobody in Belgium expected that one. No one in World Cycling expected that one. It seemed as if the Visma Lease bike squad were cruising to the line to scoop the success that they had earned some 50 kilometres or more earlier. But behind us, Mads Pedersen challenges to try and take the battle for 5th on the line. They'll all be talking about this one for a little while to come, because EF Education Easy Post have pinched it, and Nielsen Paulus has taken a famous victory in Dwars-Vlaanderen. Well, he knew what he had to do. It was very simple. He had to beat Wout van Aert in a sprint. Simpler said than done. Well, as I mentioned, he did take a win in a 4-up sprint in San Sebastian a few years ago. But that is an exceptional performance from Nielsen Paulus. He backed his sprint. Little else he could do, really. As Rasmus Tiller leads in the remains of the group behind. Group 3 are through. Be coming in 1s and 2s and dribs and drabs for quite a while to come. Arms raised aloft. He's heading to the podium.
We gaan nu zo gaan mogelijk de volledige top 10 meedelen naar de week ondertussen.
Oh, he pitched that one.
Fucking good job.
Well, you have to be in it to win it, and that was a great show of strength and ability, wasn't it? Up the road, and the only man that could stay with the Visma Lease bike team, only man who could work with them, and let the conversation begin amongst the yellow-clad squads. Looked like it was nicely done. Jorgensen led into the final corner. Thijs Benoot, little flick of the elbow. Just send that one home, will you? And Wout van Aert just didn't have the legs. His A-game not quite just there just yet. And Nielsen Paulus, sprint of the small group. Oh, and he is going to remember that one for a long, long time to come. He did a Stannard, a slightly different way.
Ik geef u ondertussen, dames en heren, de volledige en ondertussen ook getoond.
Well, we can't wait to hear from Nielsen Paulus. Hopefully we'll have an interview with your race winner very shortly.
Met als vierde Matteo
And then we'll have the
Jorgensen. Met als vijfde Mats Pedersen. Als zesde
podium presentations.
Igor Del Grosso. Als
Maybe one or two other
zevende
reactions.
met het nummer 172.
And plenty of conversation to come.
Als achtste met het nummer
Oh, and the heads bowed among the Visma Lisa bike squad.
Stefan Koen en als tiende.
Fucking legend, mate. Fucking legend. Oh my god! What? Nou, snel van de weg af. What's that? Oh my god. Well done, brother.
Well, that was something else. And the Flanders Fields American Cemetery. I suppose that's the one to show, really. An American rider takes the victory in Dwarsdorp Vlaanderen today. And this cemetery is the only cemetery in Belgium of fallen American soldiers from the First World War. Also the smallest of its kind in Europe. On May 30th, 1927, Charles Lindbergh flew over this cemetery. And we've caught up with his fellow countrymen. Nielsen Paulus got the win. I wonder how much he even expected that.
Nielsen Paulus, can you believe it? This is a sensational win.
I can't. I really can't believe it. I felt really strong today, but I didn't think I had any chance to win from that group. I thought I was riding for second place, but yeah, I can't believe it. I'm so happy. Just want to say thank you to my family, my team, everyone for supporting me, and it's been a rough spring for me so far, but today I really I'm so happy to be back where I know I can be.
Yeah, back as where you are at the highest level, highest step on this podium. Can you describe that sprint? Because you turn in the last corner in fourth position, and then
I knew Wout. I thought Wout was going to be the strongest in the sprint. They were really betting on him, and I never thought in a million years I would beat him in a sprint in a race like this. But I think I came in with a little bit of speed in the final corner, and I already had maybe 3 or 4k an hour faster than Wout when he started his sprint, and I just went all the way to the line, and I was able to carry the speed quite well. There's not a lot of space between that last corner and the finish line, so I just had to start my sprint immediately and pray.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's not that you were really profiting from the breakaway. You did your duties more than.
Yeah, it was a constant inner struggle I had. Even my director in the car, he was kind of going back and forth on whether or not I should ride, because we did have quite a few numbers behind until there was a group of 6 that got away. But yeah, I didn't want to sprint from a bigger group, and it didn't feel like it cost me too much just to contribute a bit to the group to keep everyone moving, because otherwise they would have been attacking me, and it would have been I probably would have been dropped. So yeah, it was a rock and a hard place, but I'm proud of the way I rode.
Yeah, there was one point where Benoit, he left the gap, but you immediately closed.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta hand it to Tej. He has a pretty good poker face. I really believed he would have just dropped with me, because yeah, he saw what I was trying to do, and he wasn't having any of it. So basically, when he did that, I realized I was going to have to work.
Yeah. Do you consider this the biggest win of your life? Of course, you won Classica San Sebastian.
This is the biggest win of my life. I think so.
And what will it mean for Sunday's Tour of Flanders, the classic closing question?
I hope I can fight for the win, at least fight for the podium. In these races, you need a bit of luck, but you also need confidence. So I definitely gained one of those today.
Thank you, and enjoy this incredible win. Nielsen Paulus, chapeau.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice interview that, wasn't it? And lovely sentiments expressed towards the end as well. I mean, inevitably there has to be a question about Ronda when we're so close to it. But yeah, I think he'll just take a moment, take at least maybe one beer tonight, just to savour what has been an extraordinary achievement. I mean, he had to do it all, didn't he? He had to ride through the that moment when Teish Benoit took him out the back. He just knew that he knew right there and then that he had to close the gap, and then he had to continue to ride and continue to work. And the inner conflict, as he mentioned, in the team is interesting to hear as well. That they were wondering whether the riders behind might be of greater benefit up front, or do they continue to ride him? And what do you do? I mean, it's ultimately they did the right thing, and he had the legs to answer the call, because without that you can do nothing. And Nielsen Paulus proved the strongest in the sprint at the end to take the glory in Dwarstor Vlaanderen 2025, winning the sprint ahead of Wout van Aert and Teish Benoit. Matteo Jorgensen booking in the four-man breakaway nicely with another American rider. Mads Pedersen leading the group in behind ahead of Del Grosso de Bont, Lievens, Annex Sigart. Stefan Kung had a good day as well. Bodes well for him for the battles to come on Sunday. Been a great day out, hasn't it? It's been really fabulous. 184 and a bit kilometres of great racing action from Roeselare to Waregem. 10 tough climbs along the way, and plenty of attacking. Took a long time for anything resembling an early break of the day to establish itself. When it did, it was hoovered up, but a couple of riders refusing to give in. Bjerg and Pedersen among them. Meanwhile, sustained push from the Visma Lease bike squad propelled three across to the remains of the early move. Teish Benoit, Wout van Aert, Matteo Jorgensen. A really strong situation for the Visma Lease bike team, as only Nielsen Paulus from that earlier move was able to stay with them. EF Education easy post rider, proving equal to everything they could throw at him. Jasper Philipsen finding himself, as indeed many of the sprinters, that it was going to be a slightly tougher affair than he might have hoped for and expected. Lawrence Pithy and Niels Pollitt too hitting the deck. Painful day out in Flanders for them. And the EF Education Easy Post squad content with a scenario where it was 1 against 3. Into the final 25 kilometres, and attack after attack from Mads Pedersen. How many times did we see him in the out? A little bit too little too late at that point, though. Already our four out front had done for Wout van Aert. Slam dunk, we thought, for the Visma Lease bike squad, but they betted without the fine finishing kick of Nielsen up and over Wout van Aert to take a win they'll be talking about for years. Although might not be talking about it too much of the Visma Lease bike squad, but to the victor the spoils. They proved the better man in that final finishing sprint, and as we've heard, he certainly wasn't found wanting in his contributions to the effort of that group to stay out clear on the day, proving himself to be the strongest man on the day in Dwarstor Vlaanderen. A beautiful victory. Well, the last Vlaanderen, Brik Schotte is honoured with his own square here. Honour. I wonder if they're building squares for Nielsen Paulus in Wisconsin anytime soon. I think they ought to after that one. His greatest ever success. The 79th edition of Dwarstor Vlaanderen. Nicely backing up his third place finish 2 years ago as well. Talk about the Hippodrome near hereabouts. Well, horses for courses, wasn't it? Teish Benoit, no less than 7 top 10s on the podium this time round. Wout van Aert finally scoring a good result here, but second isn't going to feel great after being bested in the final kick to the line.
for sure I can be proud of myself. I want to win a monument before my career is over.
How to beat him in the monument? Clearly, I don't know yet.
Yes, we have it, but I think now I would like a bigger one.
Me too.
Koers. De vroege vlucht was vertrokken na 50 kilometer koers. Met deze namen. Een achttal, met daarbij onder andere Van der Hoorn en ook Michael Bjerg. 2 lusjes die worden afgewerkt vandaag met 2 keer Bertenhouten. Mannen van Visma Leasebike die de koers in handen pakken. Bij de eerste keer Trieux, waar Wout van Aert en Van Aert rijden ook de vroege vluchters naar huis buiten 1 man. Nielsen Paulus, dat was de anticipeerder, de man die net voor de Visma Leasebike eraan begon versnelde. En van achteruit zijn er heel wat renners die nog willen terugkeren, waaronder Pedersen. Maak hier vaart. Philipsen gaat vandaag geen rol van betekenis spelen in de finale. Waaiervorming op de Rijksweg, op weg naar de Maria Borgstraat. Het peloton achter die 4 eersten in verschillende groepjes. En dan gaan ze op weg naar de laatste 40 kilometer naar de Eikenberg. Net voor de Eikenberg een valpartij in het peloton met onder andere Politz. Rechts Paulus, 3 mannen van Visma Leasebike in zijn buurt op de kasseistrook van Doorn. En dan denken we met z'n allen, oké, Visma gaat dit afmaken. Hier zag je al 1 keer dat Benoot Paulus het werk liet doen om terug te keren zonder probleem. Daarachter ontstaan er verschillende groepjes. Met hier dan de groep dat gaat strijden voor de 5e plaats met de Pedersen en Co. En dan gaan we sprinten voor de overwinning. Benoot trekt aan. Van Aert die hier misschien al te vroeg aan gaat. Alhoewel 200 meter, dat kan hij normaal zeker makkelijk belopen. En eigenlijk komt Paulus er al meteen voorbij. Meteen naast. En heeft die versnelling niet vandaag Van Aert om de koers te winnen. Want het is Paulus de wet voor Van Aert en Benoot. En Jurgensen wordt 4e. Onwaarschijnlijk verloop. Onwaarschijnlijke sprint. Die we waarschijnlijk nog 5 keer gaan bekijken. En nog altijd zullen zeggen, nee, dit kan toch niet gebeuren. Maar het gebeurt wel. Pedersen wordt dan 6e, Del Grosso heel knap 7e. En dan nog wat de Belgen in de top 10 met Lievijns, Segaert. Ook Kunger er nog net bij. Maar hij is de winnaar van de dag. Na een onvoorstelbaar slot. Die Ronde van Vlaanderen. Het volledige programma met de Dwars door Vlaanderen dames dat ze zo meteen begint. En dan gaan we Indurain op zaterdag brengen. Ronde van Vlaanderen natuurlijk zondag. Mannen en aansluitend ook de vrouwen. Goed, we gaan er nu uit op televisie. Want we gaan zo meteen door naar de dameswedstrijd. En we blijven digitaal nog bij het podium.
Deze race wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Bicycle, de Europese marktplaats voor tweedehands fietsen.
Vitepro is vernieuwd. Probeer het nu zelf op vitepro.nl. Je hoeft maar één ding met elkaar te hebben om je verbonden te voelen. Zoals de liefde voor de unieke smaak van Nutella. Nutella, de goedemorgen die ons samenbrengt. Heb je over je gezondheid een vraag? Wat denk je? Verkouden? Dan horen we hem graag. We nemen de tijd om je te adviseren. Nee. En we zijn er natuurlijk ook voor. Oeps, vleegvogels. Ook nog iets tegen hoofdpijn? Trekpleister, waar kunnen we je blij mee maken? Ontdek de nieuwe Tempoor Pro. Onze meest innovatieve matras ooit. Ontstaan uit ruimtevaarttechnologie. Met ultragevoelige cellen die 20% meer druk verlagen. Tempoor, the future of sleep, is here. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining bright.
De winkel van lenteaanpakkers. Pak de lente aan. Nu bij Specsavers. Specsavers. €0 eigen bijdrage voor stel. Dus gratis varivocale bril ter waarde